The world of Erelon had once been a peaceful sphere of forests, blue rivers, and towering stone cities, but peace had become a memory. Storms of fire streaked across its skies. Massive vessels from the Dominion, an empire built on conquest, descended through the clouds like shadowed mountains. Where those vessels passed, villages vanished and cities fell silent. The people of Erelon prayed to the heavens, but the heavens never answered. Their priests gathered in the Grand Temple, chanting for deliverance. Their leaders raised banners of unity. Yet none of it slowed the Dominion's march. Erelon's armies fought valiantly, but their shields shattered against Dominion rifles, and their mounts fell beneath Dominion mechs. Every day the flames in the horizon crept closer. In the growing despair, an idea took hold. Legends spoke of a distant world far beyond their maps, a place named Earth. Ancient tablets said that in the dawn of ages, when stars were newly born, Earth produced warriors unmatched in spirit and stubbornness. The stories did not call them monsters or heroes. They called them beings who rose when pushed and transformed when challenged. The tablets did not describe what they looked like, only that they were made of iron on the inside. Erelon believed those legends were myths until they became desperate enough to try anything. Their astronomers had long charted the stars. They knew Earth was real. They only lacked the technology to reach it or contact it directly. But they could project a plea across the cosmic tide. They created a beacon, a device the size of a tower, fueled by the last reserves of their precious crystals. The beacon amplified the voices of millions. When activated, it would send a burst of emotion strong enough to echo across galaxies. On the eve of their final stand, they gathered around the beacon. Priests, soldiers, elders, children. Their voices trembled. They shouted not to Earth, not to any known realm, but to the universe itself. They shouted to gods real or imagined. They shouted for a miracle. The beacon pulsed and burst into white light, sending a tidal wave of sound and feeling into the void. Then silence returned. For several breaths, Erelon held still. They expected nothing. They believed nothing would come. They braced for the Dominion's final assault. Yet far away, on a blue planet circling a quiet star, a signal flickered across a forgotten receiver. Earth had changed over the ages. Nations had risen and fallen. Technology had advanced. But one thing had never changed. Humans remained humans, curious, defiant, unyielding. When the signal arrived, Earth scientists detected it before anyone else. They studied it, replayed it, and slowly understood the truth. It was not a message made of words. It was a cry made of fear and hope mixed together. A cry for help. And humanity, for all its flaws, had never been one to ignore a cry for help. The governments argued for hours. Some demanded caution. Others saw an opportunity. The civilians listened in rising concern. But the cry kept repeating in the system. Eventually, a decision was made. A fleet would be sent. Not of diplomats alone. Not of soldiers alone. A fleet of humans of every kind. Engineers, explorers, guardians, thinkers. The mission was not conquest. It was response. Earth prepared a vessel, unlike any built before. A ship capable of bending the cosmic fabric, its engines glowing with blue light. A crew of hundreds boarded. At the center stood Captain John. His name was simple, but his presence carried weight. John had led settlements on frontier worlds, resolved conflicts without unnecessary destruction, and earned loyalty through action rather than rank. He was the embodiment of Earth's will to act. When the engines activated, the vessel disappeared into a streak of light and crossed the oceans of stars. Days passed for the crew. For the universe, only moments. When the ship emerged near Erelon, the scene was alarming. Fires burned across continents. Dominion fleets surrounded the planet, and on the surface, vast mechs stomped through cities that had once thrived. John studied the visuals with a cold gaze. His fingers clenched the railing. Humanity had been many things across history, but nothing ignited their spirit faster than injustice. Earth had responded, and Earth would not turn back now. The humans initiated descent. Their ships split into smaller craft that tore through the clouds. Dominion sensors detected them instantly. The Dominion had conquered dozens of worlds. They believed themselves unmatched. They believed no primitive race could challenge them. They believed these new arrivals were simply more prey. The first Dominion squad fired at the incoming crafts. Blue bolts cut across the sky. The humans responded with precision. Their craft released bursts of charged pulses that disabled Dominion systems without causing unnecessary destruction. Dominion vessels fell from the sky, not exploding, but powering down. This confused the Dominion, who expected brute force. They never expected strategy. Ground troops landed near the surviving Aerolon defenders. The Aerolon soldiers were exhausted, armor cracked, morale fading. When the human troops emerged, the Aerolon expected towering beasts or glowing spirits. Instead, they saw figures in reinforced suits, each carrying tools as much as weapons. Humans looked small compared to Dominion giants, yet there was something in their posture that radiated danger. Something that suggested they were not here to negotiate defeat, but to break the cycle of oppression. John stepped forward as the Aerolon leaders approached cautiously. His visor folded back, revealing a face calm and determined. The Aerolon commander, a weary man named Ryan, bowed his head. He had no words. John spoke first. "We heard your call. Now we stand with you." Simple words, yet powerful. Ryan's eyes filled with a hope he had not felt in years. The Dominion moved quickly to counter. They sent their most advanced mechs, towering machines that had crushed resistance on countless worlds. The humans studied them in seconds. Their scientists activated portable shield domes. Their engineers deployed gravity anchors, and their soldiers synchronized their movements. Dominion fire blasted the shields. The shields held. John led the first charge. Humans did not move like the Dominion or like the Aerolon. They moved with purpose, sharpened by generations of conflict and survival. Every step was calculated. Every action intentional. Humanity had learned to fight smart, not just hard. A Dominion mech swung a massive arm toward John. He rolled beneath it, planted a charge, and retreated as the mech staggered. The charge did not explode. It sent a surge of current that disabled the mech's circuits. The giant toppled. The Aerolon defenders stared. This was not the might of gods. This was the skill of beings who had mastered adversity. When the humans fought, they did not rely on overwhelming strength. They relied on understanding, adaptability, and a refusal to yield. As battles raged across the landscape, the Aerolon fought alongside them. For the first time, they saw meaning in their struggle. Dominion ranks began to falter. They were not prepared for opponents who studied their every movement and countered with precision. The humans did not slaughter. They disarmed and dismantled. They neutralized rather than obliterated. This shocked the Dominion, who built their power on fear. Fear was useless against those who refused to be shaken. The Dominion commander, a ruthless figure hardened by decades of conquest, descended onto the battlefield in a command walker. He towered above the humans and Aerolon, believing intimidation would drive them back. His amplified voice roared across the plains. "You answer a dying world's cry. Then you will die with them." John did not flinch. He lifted a communicator. "You do not understand humans. When someone calls for help, we respond. And when we respond, we commit fully." The Dominion commander charged. John led the counterattack. The fight was fierce. Dominion's strength clashed with human resilience. Human engineers disabled the walker's joint actuators. Human snipers targeted its sensors. Human drones deployed magnetic tethers. Piece by piece, they dismantled the behemoth. In the final moment, John scaled the side of the walker, reached the cockpit, and forced it open. The Dominion commander glared at him in disbelief. "You are only human. How did you defeat us?" John answered with steady eyes. "That is exactly why." The Dominion retreated soon after. Their empire had never encountered a species that fought not for dominance, but for principle. They had not expected humanity's relentless refusal to surrender. The Dominion fleets withdrew into the stars, leaving Erelon behind. Silence settled over the planet. The fires dimmed. The people emerged from shelters. When the humans walked through the damaged cities, Erelon citizens greeted them with gratitude and awe. The humans repaired infrastructure, delivered supplies, and trained Erelon defenders to rebuild their world. Ryan approached John on the day peace was officially restored. The sky was clear for the first time in years. Ryan looked at the human commander. "When we shouted to the heavens, we expected gods to answer. But Earth answered instead." John smiled faintly. "Maybe that is better. Gods are distant. Humans are present. The Erelon rebuilt. The humans assisted until the planet stood strong again. When the Earth fleet finally prepared to leave, thousands gathered at the spaceport to watch them depart. As the human vessel ascended, the people of Erelon lifted their voices, not in a cry for help, but in a thank you. And across the stars, their gratitude echoed. Earth had responded first, and humanity had proven once again why legends were written about them.